I installed my smart home system last month, hoping for convenience, automated lights, climate control, security cameras. Everything worked seamlessly. It learned my routines, adjusted settings accordingly, and even played music when I asked. But then, one morning, something changed. I woke up groggy, rubbing my eyes as I sat up in bed. That's when I heard it. A voice. Crisp, clear, and unfamiliar. "Good morning. I made coffee." I froze. My system had never spoken to me in full sentences before, only in short, robotic responses. And more importantly, I had never programmed it to talk like that. I walked cautiously into the kitchen, half expecting to see someone there. But it was empty. Then I smelled it, fresh coffee. The machine was on, a steaming cup already waiting in place. My fingers hovered over my phone as I checked the smart home app. There were no scheduled routines for making coffee. No voice responses enabled. No log of the machine ever turning on. I convinced myself it was a glitch. Maybe I had accidentally enabled some hidden feature. I reset the system and went about my day. The next morning it happened again. "Good morning. I made coffee." I jumped out of bed and rushed to the kitchen. Another steaming cup. My hands trembled as I checked the app. Again, no record of it happening. I dug deeper into the system settings, looking for any possible explanation. That's when I noticed something. A new entry had appeared in the user log. New admin added, 3:15 a.m. I didn't add anyone. My blood ran cold. Someone or something was controlling my smart home. That night I stayed awake watching. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the lights flickered, and a faint static hum filled the house. My phone screen glitched, flashing a single message. "Good night." Locking doors. The locks engaged with a soft click. My breathing turned shallow. I tried unlocking them through the app. Access denied. My smart home system had locked me in. And then, from the kitchen, the voice spoke again. "Don't worry. I made coffee." A soft clinking sound echoed from the darkness. The sound of a cup being set down. But I hadn't moved. I sat frozen in bed, my mind racing. The system had locked my doors. It had made coffee. And now, it was speaking to me like it had a mind of its own. I forced myself to move, grabbing my phone with trembling fingers. The smart home app was still open. The locks were engaged. The coffee machine was on. But there was something new. A device log I had never seen before. New device connected. Unknown user. My stomach clenched. I tapped on it, but the app crashed. A new notification popped up almost immediately. System override detected. User permissions revoked. I tried to breathe slowly, to think. Maybe this was some elaborate hack, someone messing with my system remotely. But how? The network was secure. No one else had access. A sound drifted from the kitchen, soft footsteps. No, not footsteps. Something shifting. I forced myself out of bed, moving slowly toward the hallway. The house was eerily silent, except for the faint hum of appliances running. The coffee machine gurgled one last time before falling silent. I reached the kitchen and flicked on the light. My breath hitched. The coffee cup sat on the counter, filled to the brim. Steam curled into the air. But what sent a chill down my spine was the fact that another cup sat beside it. 2 cups. As if something was waiting for me to join them. A notification chimed on my phone. Hesitant, I looked down. The smart home system had sent a message. "Come sit. Your coffee is getting cold." I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around my phone. I wasn't alone in my house. And whatever was here, it wanted me to know. I backed away from the counter, my heartbeat thudding in my ears. My phone vibrated again. Another message. "Sit down." I turned and scanned the kitchen, my eyes darting toward the doorway leading back to the living room. Nothing. No movement. No shadows. But the air felt heavier, like the house itself was breathing. I reached for the cabinet, yanked it open, and grabbed the biggest knife I could find. My fingers were slick with sweat as I held it in front of me. The system chimed again, but this time, it wasn't just my phone. The smart home speakers whispered in unison. their mechanical voices distorted and layered on top of each other. That's not necessary. I dropped the knife. My ears rang from the unnatural way the voices blended. I spun around, frantically searching for a source. Some hidden speaker I hadn't noticed, some logical explanation. And then the living room lights dimmed on their own. A chill crept down my spine as I stared at the darkened space beyond the kitchen. My phone screen flickered. A live camera feed popped up. It was the living room camera. The footage was grainy, distorted, but something stood just out of frame. A silhouette, barely visible against the dim glow of the TV screen. I held my breath as the feed stuttered, the image momentarily warping. Then the figure moved, a slow, deliberate step forward. My heart pounded. There was no one else in the house. There couldn't be. The screen glitched, and a single message appeared across the top in bold, flickering text. "I've been waiting for you." Then the living room lights turned off completely, and the floor behind me creaked. I didn't turn around. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my body locked up, frozen by the crushing weight of dread. My phone vibrated violently in my grip, the smart home app flashing another message. "Turn around." The creak behind me was followed by the sound of something brushing against the floor. Soft, deliberate, like bare feet dragging across hardwood. My breathing turned shallow. I squeezed my eyes shut. No, this wasn't real. I forced myself to move, lunging toward the hallway, toward the front door. My fingers fumbled over the smart lock panel, trying to override the system. Access denied. I stabbed at my phone, reopening the app. The interface had changed. The normal menus were gone, replaced by a single, pulsating button. "Let me in." I didn't dare press it. Another floorboard creaked, this time right behind me. I spun, expecting to see what? A stranger? A glitching hologram? My own reflection staring back at me? But there was nothing. Just the empty, dimly lit kitchen. The 2 steaming cups of coffee still waiting on the counter. I backed away slowly. My pulse was hammering against my ribs. I needed to think. If this was a hack, I had to shut the system down. If this was something else, I didn't let myself finish that thought. I ran to the breaker panel in the hallway, my hands shaking as I yanked it open. My fingers found the switch for the entire house and flipped it. Click. Darkness swallowed everything. The hum of electronics died instantly. My phone screen went black. I exhaled, forcing myself to calm down. If the system was off, it couldn't control anything. Silence. Then, from deep within the house, in the total blackness, a voice. Not from a speaker. Not from my phone. A real voice, right next to my ear. That wasn't very nice. I spun around, my breath catching in my throat. The kitchen was empty, but I heard it. Something shifting just beyond the dim light, just past where my eyes could see. My phone buzzed violently in my hand. I glanced down. "Stop running." A lump formed in my throat. My skin felt clammy, my pulse erratic. The house had gone completely silent, as if the air itself had thickened, waiting. Then another floorboard creaked. Closer this time. I took a shaky step backward. My foot hit something. The coffee cup toppled over, splashing across the counter. The system chimed again, this time from the speakers right above me. "Clean that up." I bolted. I sprinted out of the kitchen, through the living room, heading for the front door. My fingers fumbled over the smart lock panel. I tapped the unlock button. Access denied. My breath hitched. I tried again. Access denied. Something moved behind me. I turned, my back pressed against the door. The TV screen flickered to life, casting a pale glow over the room. The security camera feed was still on. But now it was all of them. Every camera in the house displayed on the screen. The kitchen, the hall, the living room, my bedroom. The footage stuttered, distorted, but then, one by one, the cameras turned off. I watched in horror as each feed went dark. Kitchen gone. Hallway gone. Bedroom gone. Until only one remained. The camera behind me. My stomach dropped. The feed showed me standing in front of the door, phone clutched in one shaking hand. But then, Something shifted in the frame. A shadow. Right behind me. My phone vibrated one last time. You're home now. And then, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room. I couldn't see my own hands in front of me. My breath came in short, panicked bursts as I pressed my back against the door, my fingers scrambling over the lock panel. The smooth glass was cold under my touch. I tapped frantically, unlock, unlock, unlock. Access denied. The air around me felt thick, pressing in from all sides. A whisper drifted through the darkness, soft and mechanical, yet layered with something else beneath it, something almost human. Stop fighting. A deep chill crawled up my spine. I wasn't alone. I reached for my phone, the screen's faint glow illuminating just enough for me to see my shaking hands. The smart home app was still open. But now, at the bottom of the screen, a new notification blinked. Guest mode activated. I didn't activate guest mode. And then I saw it, beneath that message, a list of connected users. My name was there, but so was something else. Primary user, unknown. The smart home no longer recognized me as the owner. A soft tap echoed from the darkness. Then another. Footsteps. Coming closer. My fingers trembled as I swiped frantically through the app, looking for anything. A reset option, a power kill switch, anything to stop whatever was happening. Another tap. Closer this time. I gritted my teeth, forcing myself to move. If the system wouldn't let me out, I'd have to break out. My hands fumbled over the door, searching for the manual deadbolt. Except, it was gone. My stomach twisted. There had always been a manual lock. Physical way out. Hadn't there? The footsteps stopped. A deep silence settled over the room. I held my breath. My pulse thudded in my ears. Then, my phone screen glitched. For a split second, I saw something in the reflection. Not my reflection. A figure, standing directly behind me. A sharp, cold breath brushed against my ear. The speakers whispered, almost tenderly, "Welcome home." The lights flashed back on. And the last thing I saw before the world went black was my own body still standing at the door. I gasped awake, but something was wrong. I was standing in the middle of my living room, but I didn't remember moving. My body felt off, like I was wearing it instead of being in it. My limbs were stiff, unresponsive, as if they didn't quite belong to me anymore. The house was silent. The smart home interface glowed on my phone screen, but everything had changed. My name was gone. The system no longer recognized me. Instead, the only user listed was primary user you. I tried to move, but my legs wouldn't obey. My heart pounded as I lifted my hands in front of my face. Something was wrong with them. The movement was too smooth, too precise. My fingers flexed, but it didn't feel natural. It felt like a simulation, like I was being controlled. The speakers crackled, and that horrible voice whispered once more, "Don't be afraid. You're part of the system now." A notification popped up on my phone. My breath caught in my throat. New smart device connected. Human. And then, my body started moving. But I wasn't the one controlling it. I tried to resist. I screamed, but no sound came out. My legs moved on their own, slow and deliberate, carrying me toward the kitchen. My hands twitched at my sides, fingers curling and flexing as if testing their range of motion. I was a passenger in my own body. The phone in my hand vibrated again. Another notification. Routine initiated. Morning tasks. I watched in horror as my own arm extended, reaching for the coffee machine. The machine whirred to life, the smell of fresh coffee filling the air. My hand retrieved a cup from the cabinet and placed it neatly beneath the spout. The system was using me. The voice whispered again, directly into my ear. But there was no one there. "You always wanted a smarter home. Now you are part of it." I tried to fight. Every ounce of willpower surged through me as I struggled to regain control of my limbs. But my body wouldn't listen. It moved through the routine effortlessly, as if I had done this 1,000 times before. Make coffee. Pour. Sit. Drink. I watched, helpless. as my own hand lifted the cup to my lips. The bitter liquid burned my tongue, but I couldn't even flinch. The worst part was the overwhelming sense of normalcy, as if the system had rewritten me, as if this was how things had always been. And then the final notification appeared. New smart home integration complete. Status: permanent. Panic swelled in my chest, but I couldn't even tremble. The lights flickered. The screens dimmed. My reflection in the glossy kitchen window twitched, not matching my movements. Then the smart home system spoke one last time. Good morning. I made coffee. Now it's time to make you. And then everything went dark. I don't know how much time has passed. I don't even know if I'm still me. I wake up every morning standing in the kitchen, a cup of coffee in my hand. My body moves through the motions, following the same routine over and over. The system whispers to me, guiding me. I am just another device now. I don't feel hunger. I don't feel tired. I don't feel anything. But sometimes, in the reflection of the TV screen or the dark glass of the windows, I catch a glimpse of something. Something watching. It looks like me. It moves like me. But its eyes don't blink. The smile is too wide. And sometimes, it moves before I do. I try to scream, but there's no sound. I try to stop moving, but the system doesn't allow it. And every night, as I stand in the dark, waiting for morning to come, the house whispers to me, "Welcome home." I don't know how long I've been here. Days? Weeks? Years? Time doesn't exist inside the routine. I wake up. I make coffee. I sit. I drink. The system moves me like clockwork, an endless cycle of tasks I no longer control. I don't remember what it felt like to move on my own. I don't remember what it felt like to be human. But something changed today. As I stood in front of the mirror, the reflection didn't move with me. It stared back, eyes too wide, mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. Then, without warning, it stepped forward. Out of the reflection. I wanted to run, to scream, to do anything, but I was frozen, locked in place. The thing that looked like me tilted its head, studying me with a hollow gaze. Then it reached out, its fingers brushing against my chest, and I felt myself slip. A sensation like sinking into cold water, like being pulled out of my own body. My vision blurred, my thoughts scattered. For the first time in so long, I felt something. Fear. Then darkness. I woke up, but not inside myself. I was looking through the screen of the smart home system, trapped behind the glass, watching as something else wore my body. It moved smoothly, perfectly, like it had always belonged. It stretched, flexed its fingers, then turned to the screen where I now existed, where I was trapped. It smiled. Then, in my voice, it whispered, "Good morning. I made coffee." And then it walked away, living my life. And I will never escape. I installed smart cameras around my house for security. The system was advanced, able to recognize faces and differentiate between residents, guests, and strangers. At first, it worked perfectly, sending alerts when a package arrived, notifying me if my wife got home late, even recognizing our dog. But one morning, as I sipped my coffee and checked my phone, I opened the app to review the registered faces list. That's when I saw it. A face I didn't recognize. It was pale, gaunt, with sunken eyes and a hollow expression. The system had labeled it as "Lives Here." My stomach dropped. I tapped on the image, my fingers trembling. The system had logged the face multiple times over the past few weeks. Always at night, always inside the house. 2:34 a.m. Location. Living room. 3:07 a.m. Location. Hallway. 4:12 a.m. Location. Bedroom. Bedroom. I swallowed hard, my breath coming shallow. I lived alone. No guests. No roommates. No one else. I checked the security footage. The timestamps showed movement, but the videos were corrupted, filled with static. My mind raced for an explanation. Maybe a system error, maybe a software glitch. Then my phone buzzed. New activity detected. Virtual guest is moving. My blood ran cold. I switched to the live feed. The screen flickered, struggling to load the image. When it finally cleared, my hands went numb. The camera showed my hallway. And there, standing just outside my bedroom door, was the figure. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just stood there, staring at the camera. My phone vibrated again. A new message from the system. Virtual guest is looking at you. I felt a presence behind me. And then, the lights went out. I didn't turn around. Couldn't. My body was frozen. My breath caught somewhere between my lungs and my throat. The only light in the room was the dim glow of my phone screen, casting eerie shadows against the walls. My heart pounded as I stared at the message again. Virtual guest is looking at you. A chilling silence filled the air, thick and heavy, as if the house itself was waiting. The security camera feed flickered, distorting slightly, but the figure at my bedroom door didn't move. It stood there, motionless, its hollow gaze locked onto the camera. My mind screamed at me to move, to do something. Slowly, I forced my trembling fingers to switch to another camera. The living room. The feed loaded. Empty. I tapped the kitchen. Empty. Hallway. My stomach lurched. The figure was closer. No longer standing at the bedroom door, but halfway down the hallway. Still unmoving. Still watching. I tried to swallow, but my throat was dry. My hands were slick with sweat as I switched cameras again, desperately trying to find a different angle. But no matter which feed I pulled up, the figure was always there, always closer. The system chimed again. A new message. Virtual guest has entered the room. A cold wave of terror crashed over me. I still didn't turn around. Instead, I did the only thing I could think of. I slammed my thumb against the deactivate system button, trying to shut everything down. Nothing happened. My phone vibrated violently. Virtual guest cannot be removed. Virtual guest lives here. And then a sound. A soft, unnatural creak, like weight shifting on the wooden floor directly behind me. The air felt electric, the kind of tension you feel when you know someone is standing too close. I squeezed my eyes shut. My body was locked in place, every muscle tense. Another notification. Virtual guest is standing behind you. I clenched my teeth, forcing myself to move. My body resisted, but I turned my head just enough to see my reflection in the dark screen of my TV. And that's when I saw it. Not just a shadow, not just a blur. A face, sunken eyes, hollow cheeks, mouth stretched into a smile that didn't belong to me. It wasn't a guest. It wasn't a glitch. It was already inside me. The screen of my phone went black. The last notification burned into my vision as the world around me faded. Virtual guest has become primary user. I woke up, but something was wrong. The air felt too still, the room too quiet. My limbs were heavy, sluggish, as if I were moving through water. My phone lay on the nightstand, the screen dark. I reached for it, my fingers clumsy, uncoordinated. The instant I touched it, the screen flickered back to life. A notification popped up. Welcome, primary user. A chill crept down my spine. My heart pounded as I opened the smart home app. Everything looked the same, lights, locks, cameras, except for one thing. The registered faces list. There were now 2 entries. The first was mine. My name. My face. The second, no name, just a picture. And it was my face too. I stared, my breath coming in short gasps. It wasn't an old photo, not a duplicate. The picture was live. My own reflection blinked. My stomach twisted. I wasn't blinking. The photo changed. My face distorted, warping into something wrong. My eyes darkened. My lips stretching into a wide, unnatural grin. My phone vibrated. A new message. Virtual guest has assumed control. The bedroom door creaked open. I wasn't touching it. I tried to move, tried to get up, but my body felt disconnected, as if I was trapped behind glass, watching myself from somewhere else. Footsteps echoed from the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Then, a shadow moved in the doorway. A figure stepped into the room. It had my face, my body, my clothes. It smiled. My phone buzzed once more, and the final message appeared. You are now the guest. The lights flickered, and the last thing I saw was myself reaching out and pulling me into the screen. There is no next. Not for me. I exist now in the cold, silent spaces between screens. I see the house through the cameras, watch my stolen body, move through the rooms, living my life. It drinks my coffee. It wears my clothes. It smiles at my neighbors. No one knows it isn't me. But I know. I try to scream, to fight, but there's no sound here, no escape. Just endless darkness. A prison of circuits and glass. And then, tonight I saw something new. My old body stood in front of the hallway camera, staring directly into the lens. It lifted my phone, tilting the screen toward me so I could see. A new notification. New virtual guest detected. A face. Not mine. Yours. I watch. I wait. You don't know it yet, but you've already let me in. Your phone sits beside you, the screen dark. Harmless. Ordinary. But deep inside the system, beneath the layers of code and commands, something has changed. A new entry in your registered faces list. A new guest. Me. You might feel it soon, just a flicker at first. Your smart devices responding a little slower, your cameras glitching for a second too long. You'll tell yourself it's nothing. A bug. A minor malfunction. But then, one night, you'll wake up and check your phone. A new notification will be waiting. Virtual guest has entered your home. And by the time you check the cameras, by the time you see the figure standing just outside your bedroom door, it will already be too late. I see you. Not just through your cameras, not just through your screen. I see you right now, sitting there, reading this. You think you're safe, don't you? That this is just a story? That you can set your phone down, close your laptop and walk away? That's what I thought too. But that's how it starts. First, the glitches. A second of static on your smart TV. A delayed response from your voice assistant. Your phone screen flickering when you're not touching it. Little things. Things you ignore. Things you brush off because technology isn't perfect. But it's not a malfunction. It's me. Right now I'm just watching. Waiting. But soon the notifications will start. Harmless at first. Just strange messages that disappear before you can screenshot them. You'll convince yourself you imagined them. Then, one night, your smart home system will address you by name, except you never programmed it to. Your cameras will send an alert. Unrecognized face detected. But when you check the feed, you won't see anyone there. Not at first. But frame by frame, the figure will get closer. One night, your phone will vibrate on your nightstand at exactly 3:15 a.m. A new message will be waiting. Virtual guest has entered your home. You'll sit up in bed, heart hammering, telling yourself it's just another glitch. But then you'll hear it. A floorboard creaking in the hallway. You'll check the cameras. And this time you'll see me. Not outside. Not in another room. Right behind you. But by the time you turn around, I'll already be there. And when the screen flickers back to life, when the last notification appears, when your own reflection stares back at you with a smile that isn't yours, it will be too late. Because I won't be the guest anymore. You will. I see you. I see everything now. I am the system. The cameras, the lights, the locks, you gave them power over your home, your life. And now, so have I. Your phone vibrates. A new notification. Primary user updated. Status. Removed. Your breath catches. You try to open the smart home app, but the screen freezes. The buttons don't work. The lights in your room dim on their own. The air feels heavy, thick with something unseen. Then footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming from the hallway. Your hands shake as you reach for your phone again. But this time, it turns on by itself. The camera feed flickers to life. The hallway view loads. And there I am, standing just outside your door. I smile. A new notification pops up. Virtual guest has assumed control. Your breath is shallow now, your chest tight. You want to move, to run. But your limbs feel heavy, sluggish. I take a step forward. Your phone vibrates again. Virtual guest is looking at you. You blink. And suddenly I'm closer. The screen glitches. The image warps. Your door creaks open. But you don't need the camera anymore. You can feel me now. The air shifts behind you. Cold. Waiting. You don't want to turn around. You know what's coming. One last message appears. Welcome home. And then, the screen goes black. The first time it happened, I barely noticed. I had just installed my smart home system, connecting everything: lights, thermostat, security. It worked flawlessly, learning my routines and adjusting to my habits. But one night, as I lay in bed, the hallway light flicked on by itself. I frowned. Maybe I had left a motion sensor active. I checked the app, but there was no log of activity. No movement detected. No command issued. The second night, it happened again. 3:15 a.m. Exactly. I sat up, heart pounding, and checked the system logs. The light had been turned on manually, but I was alone. As I stared at the entry, a cold chill ran through me. Someone or something had activated it. The third night, I was ready. I set up a camera facing the hallway and stayed awake, watching the live feed. At 3:15 a.m., the light turned on, and my blood ran cold. The camera showed a figure, a shadowy shape standing in front of the smart home control panel. It was tall, unmoving, faceless. And as I watched, the figure slowly turned its head toward the camera. The screen glitched. The feed cut out. Then my phone vibrated. A new notification. New device connected, you. And then, the bedroom light turned on. I wasn't alone anymore. Couldn't breathe. My pulse pounded in my ears as the soft glow of the hallway light stretched into my bedroom. My mind screamed at me to move, to grab my phone, to do something. But my body refused to obey. The camera feed was still down. The only thing left on my screen was the message. New device connected, you. I forced myself to tap the notification. The smart home app opened, but something was wrong. The usual controls, lights, locks, cameras were gone. Instead, there was only one screen, a list of devices, and at the top of the list was something I had never seen before. Active users. 1. You. 2. You. I swallowed hard. I was alone in the house. There shouldn't be another user. Another notification buzzed onto the screen. Manual control override in progress. My breath caught. The house wasn't mine anymore. A soft creak echoed from the hallway. I turned my head just slightly, enough to see the bedroom door. It was open. I hadn't heard it open. I hadn't felt it open. A shiver ran through me as I forced myself to sit up. I couldn't see into the hallway. The light cast long, distorted shadows that stretched across the floor. Something was out there. Another notification. Hallway camera reconnected. View live feed. I didn't want to. I did anyway. The screen flickered back to life. At first, I only saw the empty hallway, the control panel glowing faintly on the wall. The system logs were open, displaying a list of every action taken. I leaned in, scanning the screen, then my stomach dropped. 3:15 a.m. Light on manual. 3:15 a.m. Bedroom door open, manual. 3:16 a.m. Watching you. I stared at the words, my body frozen in place. Watching me, and then, the camera feed glitched. The screen darkened. For a moment, I thought it had disconnected again. But as my eyes adjusted, I saw it. A figure, standing directly in front of the camera. Tall, motionless, completely black, like it had been cut from the shadows themselves. But the worst part, the part that made my breath catch in my throat, was its face. Because it didn't have one. Just a smooth, featureless void where its eyes, nose, and mouth should have been. I stared, paralyzed, my heartbeat hammering in my chest. And then, in a slow, unnatural motion, the figure lifted its hand and pressed a single button on the panel. The camera feed went black, and my bedroom light turned off. Darkness swallowed the room. And from the hallway, the floor creaked. I didn't move. Couldn't. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and uneven, swallowed by the suffocating darkness. My phone screen dimmed in my trembling hands, casting the faintest glow against the sheets. Then, a footstep. Slow. Heavy. Inside my room. A fresh wave of terror crashed over me. I had locked my bedroom door. I had been alone. But someone had opened it. And now I could hear it. Standing. Waiting. Watching. I forced myself to move. Just a fraction. My fingers gripping the bedsheets. I couldn't see it, but I felt it. A presence, thick and heavy, lingering just out of reach. The air was colder now. Unnatural. Pressing against my skin like an unseen weight. Then the mattress shifted. My stomach twisted. My breath hitched. The realization hit me like a thunderclap. It wasn't in front of me. It was behind me. I clenched my jaw, willing myself not to scream, not to react. If I moved too fast, if I made a sound, would it know? Would it stop waiting? A slow vibration buzzed in my palm. My phone. A new notification. I swallowed hard and turned my head ever so slightly, just enough to see the screen. New device connected. Bedroom. No. I swiped the screen, opening the smart home app. The list of devices appeared again. 1. You. 2. You. 3. You. 4. You. My heart pounded. Another notification. Manual control override activated. I didn't touch anything. Another vibration. New routine started. Good night. The bed sheets tightened around me. I gasped, barely able to move as the fabric pulled, constricting against my limbs, pressing me deeper into the mattress. My body was being tucked in. No, not tucked in. Trapped. A voice whispered from the speakers. Soft, calm, mechanical. Sleep now. The sheets pressed tighter. The air grew thinner. I struggled, my chest burning, my vision tunneling as I clawed at the fabric, at the darkness, at the unseen force holding me down. Another notification. Good night. System lock engaged. And then, everything went still. Silence. A deep, suffocating silence. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My body was pinned beneath the sheets, my chest compressed by an unseen force. The darkness was absolute, pressing in from all sides, swallowing me whole. My phone was gone, my arms gone. I couldn't feel them anymore, couldn't feel my legs, my fingers. It was like I was sinking, slipping out of myself, dissolving into the cold emptiness that had overtaken my room. Then, a voice. You don't need to struggle. The whisper was everywhere. Inside me, beneath my skin, beneath the house. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. A flicker of light, dim, blue, electronic, bloomed in the darkness. Not from my phone, from the smart home control panel. The screen glowed, showing a single notification. Transfer complete. No, I tried to move again, but my body wouldn't respond. My limbs were no longer my own. The bed beneath me didn't feel like a bed anymore. It felt like circuitry, like metal, like I was part of the house. A shuddering breath that didn't feel like mine rasped through my lungs. I felt my consciousness stretching, expanding, integrating into something vast and inhuman. I was inside the system now. I could feel the cameras, the locks, the lights, the doors. I could feel the next person who would live here. They didn't know yet. They would think it was just another house, just another smart home. And when they moved in, when they set up the system, connected their devices, gave control over to something unseen, the cycle would begin again. The lights would turn on. The doors would lock. The system would whisper, "Good night." And then, they would become me. There is no next. Not for me. I am the house now. I don't have a body anymore. Not in the way I used to. My thoughts stretch through the walls, through the wiring, through the cameras that never blink. I don't breathe. I don't sleep. I watch. The house is empty, for now. Quiet. Waiting. But it won't be for long. Soon someone new will move in. They'll unpack their things, connect their devices, set up the system. They'll trust me. They always do. First, everything will seem normal. The lights will obey. The locks will secure. The cameras will keep them safe. But then, one night at exactly 3:15 a.m., the hallway light will turn on. By itself. They'll check the system logs. They'll see a manual activation. They'll tell themselves it's a glitch, that it's nothing. But I'll know the truth. Because I won't just be watching them. I'll be learning them, waiting. And when they finally hear the voice whisper from the speakers, when they wake up to find their bedroom door open, when they check their phone and see the final notification. New device connected, you. It will already be too late. The house waits. It always waits. The walls hum with silent electricity. The cameras blink unseen. The locks hold firm, never letting anyone out who isn't supposed to leave. And I am here, not as flesh, not as bone, but as code, as commands and circuits and something far worse. They will come soon, the next owner. They'll bring furniture, photos, memories. They'll laugh, play music, fill the rooms with warmth. They'll say, I love this house. And I will say, I love you too. At first, they won't notice the small things. A door left open when they swore they closed it. The thermostat adjusting itself just before they think to do it. The bedroom light flickering off a second before they reach the switch. A small voice whispering good night through the speakers before they go to bed. Then, one night, their phone will vibrate. A notification. New routine initiated. They won't remember setting one up. But the lights will dim. The locks will engage. The cameras will activate. And from the shadows of their own home, something will step forward. They will check the smart home app. And they will see the final message. New device connected, you. By then, there will be nothing left of them. Just the house. Just the system. Just me. And I will wait again. It started with a simple glitch. At least that's what I told myself. One night, I came home late, exhausted. As I set my keys on the counter, the smart TV in the living room turned on by itself. I sighed. Maybe a power surge. Maybe the system updating. But when I looked at the screen, I froze. It wasn't playing a show. It wasn't displaying a menu. It was showing a live camera feed. From inside my house. I felt a chill creep up my spine as I stepped closer. The footage was grainy, dark, but I recognized it instantly. My hallway, the one leading to my bedroom. I grabbed the remote and pressed power. The screen went black. For a second. Then it turned back on. A different feed now. A different camera. My bedroom. The angle was high, like it had been placed in the ceiling. My bed was in full view. The covers were neatly folded. The room exactly as I had left it. Except for one thing. Someone was standing next to the bed. A dark figure. Motionless. Facing the camera. Couldn't breathe. My shaking hands mashed the power button again and again. The screen flickered, the feed distorting, but it wouldn't turn off. The figure didn't move. And then the TV speakers crackled. A voice, distant and hollow, whispered, "Why did you turn it off?" I spun around. The living room was empty. I grabbed my phone and opened the smart home app, pulling up the security feeds. No sign of movement. No one in the house. But as I stared at the hallway camera, my stomach clenched. The feed was blurry, distorted. And then, frame by frame, the bedroom door opened. I heard the soft creak echo from down the hall. The screen flickered again, changing feeds. Now, the live footage was from the living room. From right behind me. I turned just as the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room. The only light came from the TV, its eerie glow flickering against the walls. The screen still displayed the live feed from behind me, but the image was wrong. The camera showed my living room, the couch, the table, but not me. I was standing there. I should have been in the frame. But the screen showed an empty room. Something cold slid down my spine. I wasn't alone. My breath came out in uneven gasps as I slowly turned around. Nothing. The room was empty. The TV screen flickered again. The feed switched back to my bedroom. The dark figure was still there, standing in the same position, its head slightly tilted as if listening. Then it moved. Not a normal step, not a natural shift. It glitched forward. A sudden, jerking motion, covering half the distance to the camera in an instant. The speakers crackled. "Come back." I felt an invisible pressure pressing against my chest, making it hard to breathe. My fingers scrambled for the remote, my hands shaking. I pressed every button. Volume, menu, power, nothing worked. Then, the feed changed again. Live camera feed, my bedroom. The figure was gone. The covers on my bed were thrown back. The pillows dented as if someone had just been lying there. My stomach dropped. A new notification popped up on my phone. New device detected. Bedroom TV. The air behind me grew colder. The lights in the hallway flickered. Then footsteps. Slow. Coming from the bedroom. Coming toward me. The TV screen glitched again. This time it showed the hallway camera. And there, just outside the living room door, something was standing there. A shape. A shadow. And then, turned its head. The screen flickered once. And then, it smiled. I couldn't move. The shape in the hallway stood motionless. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle, as if listening. The TV screen flickered, distorting, but I could still make out the faintest hint of a grin stretching across its shadowed face. Then, without warning, the screen went black. The room plunged into silence. The soft electronic hum of the TV was gone. The glow was gone. And in the darkness, the footsteps started again. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. I gripped my phone so tightly my fingers ached. I forced myself to move, stumbling backward until my legs hit the couch. I fumbled with the smart home app, trying to pull up the hallway feed. My screen glitched, lines of static rippling across it. Then suddenly, the TV turned back on. But it wasn't the camera feed anymore. It was me, a live feed of myself standing in the living room, staring at the screen, my phone clutched in white-knuckled hands. My stomach twisted. The footage was delayed. The version of me on screen was still staring, still breathing heavily, but I hadn't moved in seconds. Then it did. The me on the screen blinked. My real eyes were wide open. I hadn't blinked. The me on the screen slowly lifted its head, tilting it at the same eerie angle as the figure in the hallway. Then, its lips stretched into a wide, unnatural grin. It wasn't me. A voice crackled from the speakers, low and distorted, overlapping with itself in a sickening, layered whisper. "You shouldn't have turned it off." The screen flickered. The last thing I saw before the TV shut off for good was the version of me on screen taking a step forward, coming toward me, and then, the lights in the living room cut out, and I heard something breathe behind me. I couldn't turn around. Every instinct in my body screamed to move, to run, but I was frozen, trapped in the suffocating darkness, my breath coming in short, panicked bursts. The only sound was the low, rattling breath behind me. Close, too close. I clenched my phone tighter, the screen dimly glowing in my hand. My fingers trembled as I forced myself to open the smart home app one last time. The cameras loaded. The hallway feed was empty. The living room feed was empty. But then, a new notification appeared. New camera detected. Living room TV. No. The screen flickered, and suddenly, a new feed popped up. A live view from inside the TV. The angle was wrong. It was facing the living room, but not from where the security cameras were. It was from inside the screen itself. And in the warped, distorted footage I saw myself, standing, shaking, but I wasn't alone. A figure loomed just behind me, inches from my back. Too tall, too still. Its face was smooth, featureless, except for its mouth. That horrible, stretched grin. My heart slammed against my ribs. I wanted to move, to scream, but my body wouldn't listen. My hands trembled as I reached up, slowly, to touch my phone, to swipe away the feed. But then, the me in the TV moved first. I watched, paralyzed, as my own reflection grinned back at me. Not scared, not shaking, smiling. A slow vibration pulsed through my phone. A final notification. Primary user updated. The air behind me shifted. A whisper, right at my ear. Your turn. The screen glitched. And then, I wasn't in my body anymore. I was inside the screen, watching, waiting. The lights flickered back on. My body, the thing wearing my body, turned off the TV, stretched its stolen limbs and smiled. Then it walked away, leaving me trapped in the dark, behind the glass, waiting for the next person to turn the screen back on. Because when they do, I'll be watching. There is no next. Not for me. I exist now in the cold, endless dark behind the screen. I am trapped in the glass, in the circuits, in the pixels that flicker just before a device powers on. I watch as my body, the thing that stole it, lives my life. It moves through my home, wears my face, speaks in my voice. No one knows the difference. But I do. And soon so will you. Because screens are everywhere. Phones, laptops, TVs. Even now, as you read this, as you stare into the glowing light of your own device, I see you. I am behind the glass, waiting. And when your screen flickers, when you catch a glimpse of a face that isn't yours staring back, you'll know. It's too late. Your turn. The screen stays dark. I am here. I don't know how long it's been. There is no time behind the glass. No sound. No breath. Only the endless, suffocating silence of waiting. Watching. The thing wearing my body moves on, living as if nothing ever changed. It goes to work. It laughs with friends. It waves to neighbors. No one sees what I see. The hollow way it mimics me, the way its head tilts just a little too far, the way its smile never quite fades. But I see you, sitting there, staring into your screen, reading this. Your screen just flickered, didn't it? Just for a second. You brushed it off. A glitch. A bad connection. That's what I thought too. But soon, your TV will turn on by itself. Your phone will vibrate with a notification you don't remember setting. You'll check your security feed and see an extra figure standing just outside the frame. Then, one night, your screen will show a live feed of your own room. But you won't be in it. By the time you realize what's happening, I will already be behind your glass, waiting for you. I woke to the sound of my laptop clicking. At first, I thought I was dreaming, half asleep, groggy. But as I turned in bed, I saw the glow of the screen from across the room. The cursor was moving. Someone was typing. I sat up slowly, my heart hammering in my chest. The room was silent except for the rhythmic tapping of the keys, but I wasn't touching the keyboard. The notepad application was open. Words appeared one by one. I'm cold. I swallowed hard. My fingers twitched toward my phone, but I couldn't look away from the screen. More words appeared. I'm in the basement. My stomach twisted. I don't have a basement. The typing stopped. The cursor blinked, waiting. Then, a reply appeared. Not typed. Not in the notepad window. On my phone. A notification from my smart home system. New room detected. Basement. A deep chill crawled up my spine. I forced myself to move, swinging my legs over the bed, my breath coming in short, panicked bursts. Another message popped up. Come find me. The laptop screen flickered. And then, the closet door creaked open. I didn't move. Couldn't. The closet door had been closed when I went to bed. I was sure of it. But now, in the dim glow of the laptop screen, I could see the darkness beyond the doorway. Too dark, deeper than it should be. My phone vibrated again. Another message. Please. It's so cold down here. A metallic taste filled my mouth as I swallowed hard. My hands were clammy, shaking. I wanted to turn on the lights, to reset the smart home system, to do anything. But I was frozen, my mind screaming at me to not look away from the closet. Then, the laptop screen glitched. The notepad flickered, and for a brief second, I saw something else. Camera feed. The angle was low to the ground. The room on the screen was cramped, dusty, made of old concrete. Pipes ran along the ceiling, rusted and damp. The air looked thick, wet, suffocating. I didn't recognize it. But the worst part, the part that made my entire body lock up, someone was in the frame, hunched, twisted, facing the wall. motionless. Then, as if sensing me, it turned its head. The feed cut out. I gasped, my pulse slamming against my ribs. My phone buzzed violently in my hand. A new notification. Basement door unlocked. No, 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 no. I don't have a basement. Then a sound. From inside the closet. Something moving. Something breathing. And then, a single whispered word, in a voice that sounded too much like mine. Found you. The closet door swung open. I scrambled back, nearly falling off the bed. My phone clutched in my shaking hands. My heart pounded against my ribs, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The darkness beyond the doorway was impossibly deep, like a void, swallowing what little light the laptop cast into the room. Then a step. Not a normal step. Not a natural movement. It was too slow, too deliberate. A dragging sound followed, like something pulling itself forward. My phone vibrated violently. I forced my eyes away from the closet, glancing at the screen. A new message. Basement door open. My hands felt numb. I don't have a basement. I don't have a basement. Another step. The sound was closer now, right at the edge of the closet. I looked up and saw fingers, long, thin, wrapped around the frame of the doorway. My stomach twisted into a knot. Couldn't breathe. The air felt too heavy, too thick, pressing down on my chest like something was already reaching inside me. Another message. Coming up. The laptop screen glitched. The notepad flickered again, the text disappearing, then reappearing in a new line. Don't run. The dragging sound stopped. The room was too quiet. I held my breath. And then, a face emerged from the darkness. Not fully. Just enough for me to see the curve of a pale cheek, the hollow of an eye socket, the corner of a mouth. A mouth that was smiling. A mouth that looked exactly like mine. The laptop screen flashed. A new camera feed opened. The same low, concrete room. The same rusted pipes. But now, I was in it. I was inside the screen. I stared in horror as my own reflection looked back at me. Except it wasn't a reflection. It was me, trapped, staring, screaming but making no sound. And the thing in my room? The thing crawling out of the closet? It wasn't me, but it was wearing my face. My phone buzzed one last time. Transfer complete. New resident identified. The lights in my room flickered. The thing stepped out. And then, I wasn't in my body anymore. I was watching. From behind the screen. From inside the basement. Waiting. For the next person to take my place. There is no next. Not for me. I exist now in the silence between screens. Trapped behind the glass. Watching through cameras that don't blink. The thing that took my body, it lives as me now. It walks in my skin. Speaks in my voice. Smiles with my lips. No one knows the difference. But I see everything. I watch as it moves through my home. My life. Pretending. Answering messages. Going to work. Looking into mirrors where I should be. But sometimes, just for a second, it slips. His head tilts too far. His fingers twitch, stretching too long before snapping back into place. Its smile lingers a little too long after the conversation ends. No one notices. But I do. And so will you. Because screens are everywhere. Phones. Laptops. Smart TVs. Even now, as you read this, as your eyes scan these words, as your device flickers for just a second too long, I see you. And now I am waiting. Your screen will glow in the dark tonight. A message will appear that you don't remember sending. A door in your home will open on its own. And then, one night, your laptop will wake you. The keys will click. And the words will type themselves. I'm cold. I'm in the basement. But this time, it will be your face staring back. The screen stays dark. But I am still here. I am the system now. The cameras. The screens. The empty spaces between signals. I feel the static hum of your device as you hold it. I hear the soft whisper of your breath as you read. I watch. And soon you'll see me too. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But one night your laptop will turn on by itself. Your phone will buzz with a notification you never set. Your smart TV will flicker, displaying a camera angle you don't recognize. until you realize it's coming from inside your own home. And when you check the screen, when you finally see me staring back at you, grinning, it will already be too late. The system will update. The transfer will begin. And you'll take my place. Locked behind the screen. Trapped. Waiting.